Stick around to the end of this video to hear an offer from the greatest underwear manufacturing company the earth has ever known. Sheath Underwear. Before, I know you're waiting for that ad at the end of the video, as well you should be. Let's talk about Roger Stone and Lauren Winsor once again. A marvelous investigative journalist who is a documentarian, and he goes out putting herself in the fray to record individuals in MAGA world from Roger Stone, like we're going to talk about today, all the way up to one of the justices on the Supreme Court, Samuel Alito. Good stuff. First, I'm going to read a little bit, kind of a summation from the Rolling Stone magazine, the Rolling Stone, it's Rolling Stone magazine, about this, and they put a little context on it, give a little bit of color to it, and then I'm going to play two clips in a row. Her video is much longer. I'm going to play you 2 moments from this particular conversation with Roger Stone that should be very alarming, especially since we're staring down the barrel of an election and dirty tricks will abound. But first, before I do that, I want to remind you, you may not know this, Roger Stone has a long and storied past with the Republican Party. You probably do know that. But Roger Stone has been around so long and is so entrenched in the dirty tricks of politics that his business partners back in the 70s, back in the 80s, were Paul Manafort, I'm sure you know the name, the convicted criminal, Paul Manafort, himself, obviously, and Lee Atwater, one of the architects of the late stage Southern strategy. I've done videos on the Southern strategy. I did a couple of videos about why I left the Republican Party. And there are audio recordings of Lee Atwater saying vile things that just outline the sinister turn of the Republican Party to turn the South red. That wasn't a thing at the time. There wasn't red and blue, but to turn it to Republican hands by using racism. Check out those videos. I'll link below. But it just tells you who Roger Stone is and what company he's kept. Here's the headline from the Rolling Stone, Why do I do that? From Rolling Stone, lawyers, judges, technology. Roger Stone touts plan for Trump win in secret recording. Liberal documentary filmmaker Lauren Winsor's team spoke to the dirty trickster, quote unquote, of right-wing politics at an event at Mar-a-Lago. If there's anything more alarming than Donald Trump and his allies plan to wreak havoc on the 2024 election, it's how comfortable they are telling anyone who asks exactly what they plan to do. In an undercover recording obtained by liberal journalist Lauren Winsor, I don't think it was obtained, I think it was created by her, longtime Trump consultant and professional electoral agitator, Roger Stone brags that the former president and his cadre are on offensive footing ahead of the election. And that doesn't mean they're being offensive. It means relative to being defensive or offensive ahead of the election, and are better prepared to challenge election results in November than they were in 2020. Quote, at least this time when you do it, you have a lawyer and a judge, his home phone number standing by so you can stop it, Stone says at one point. We made no preparations last time, none. There are technical legal steps that we have to try to take to have more honest elections. We're not there yet, but there's things that can be done. The audio, which was provided exclusively to Rolling Stone, includes 2 conversations, one between Winsor and Stone, and one between Winsor's colleague, Ali Samarco, and Stone. Recorded at a Catholic's Prayer for Trump event on March 19th at Mar-a-Lago, the former president's Florida club, Stone was the keynote speaker at that event, which should tell you everything you need to know about that particular Catholic prayer organization, that they're having Roger Stone, convicted criminal, pardoned by Donald Trump, be the keynote speaker. Stone also indicates that the MAGA movement is fully prepared to pull a variety of levers to ensure Trump defeats Biden this November. When Samarco asked Stone what would stop Trump's opponents from committing voter fraud like ballot harvesting, Stone replies that in some states it'll be easier to stop, in other places it won't. We should be suing in half a dozen places, Stone adds. I mean, we're finally now on an offensive footing. Stone goes on to tell Samarco that now that the Republican National Committee is under MAGA control, they can spend lots more money on election monitoring. He also points out changes in state law, real-time voter list monitoring, going to court, as well as he did some challenging some vote laws. And we went into court to sue in Michigan over handwritten ballots. Listen, there's a lot of problems here, just like with Project 2025 and the people who are not aware of that and just how dangerous that's going to be. They have learned from their mistakes. They know from an administration and a governance standpoint what they made mistakes in last time. They're correcting those. The same can be said about trying to steal an election, about trying to gum up the works, about questioning certain votes, about calling into question the legitimacy of our democracy. They've learned from the mistakes. So here is that video. It'll be split into two. I'll link below to the full video if you want to watch it. It'll be in the body of this article that I just read from, and I would encourage you to educate yourself. Watch this.
Do you mind taking a photo with me, Mr. Stone?
Sure.
You're in a position to know more than anybody else. How are you feeling about the election?
Too early to say.
You can't win again.
No, but it can be stolen again.
We're in a whole... But there's got to be something we can do to prevent that.
We're working on this, but I'm not saying that I'm totally confident yet, because I'm not. By the way, in 2020, only 65% of evangelical Christians bothered to vote. So when you tell people, oh, we're doing great, then this happens. I don't have to worry about voting. That's our biggest... Overconfidence is one of our giant problems right now among our own people.
But so, what are we going to do to stop it, though? Thank you.
I'll tell you the same thing I told her. We're working on it.
Well,
lawyers, judges, technology.
Governors?
Some, but there aren't many letting go.
We got to use every lever we can.
We are doing that. All right.
You're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you.
What stops them from just like being voted on? Like
They in some states it'll be easier to stop them. In other places, but at least this time, when they do it, you have a lawyer and a judge whose home phone number standing by so you can stop him. We made no preparations last time. None.
I was at the Capitol, so I'm prepared to go back.
Well, that may not be necessary. There are technical and legal steps that we have to take to try to have a more honest election. We're not there yet, but there are things that can be done. It's a long conversation. I'm working with changes in state law, real-time voter list monitoring, going to court as we just did to challenge some of the voter lists. The election's not tomorrow. We went into court to sue in Michigan over the handling of ballots, which we sued in half a dozen places. And then we're finally now on an offensive footing. Remember, the Republican National Committee raised $200 million and they didn't spend any of it to try to get cleaner elections. Or look at what happened last time. We now finally have control of that mechanism. Don't be discouraged.
So we're going to spend, the RNC is going to spend more money now than ours.
Far more.
Do you want to get a picture?
I'll read it.
Can I get a picture?
Sure.
Let me first talk about the overconfidence thing. I wonder why Republican voters would be overconfident about the election and not really prioritizing voters. I wonder if it could be that in March and then in June and then the next day in June, Donald Trump has repeatedly said, we don't worry about we got plenty of votes. Don't worry about the votes. We've got the votes. Remember these moments.
Send a big signal, so it's important. I mean, we don't need your vote. We want you to get out, though, and vote in big margins. And I actually tell our people, we don't need your vote. We got so many votes, we don't need them. We just don't want to see votes stolen. We don't want to say, steal the vote. We're not letting it happen. We're not going to let it happen. It's not happening again. Our country can't take it. And we're not going to let it happen again. I said to Charlie, and I said to Michael, I said to everyone, listen, we don't need votes. We got more votes than anybody's ever had. We need to watch the vote. We need to guard the vote. We need to stop the steal. We don't need votes. We have to stop. Focus. Don't worry about votes. We got all the votes.
And as far as the other stuff that was said on that tape, this is alarming. This isn't coming from some credible strategist or a legal mind. This is self-described dirty trickster Roger Stone, who's got a massive photographic tattoo of Nixon's stupid mug between his shoulder blades on his back. He's a nut. He's a sinister force in American politics that had a role to play in the insurrection, who had full-time security guards that were 3%ers and Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. He's one of the worst, and he's been around Trump since Trump was a far younger man, and as well did business with Paul Manafort and Lee Atwater. Look up those goofs if you don't know who I'm talking about. Dangerous stuff that we're facing down in this coming election. What do you think? I would love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can comment below. That is fantastic. And you can also leave me an email, daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. You can click the join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. You can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. You can buy some merch. Make sure you're subscribed. And another way to support this work is to stick around and listen to, like I said earlier, a commercial, an ad read by me for the greatest underwear company the earth has ever known. Sheath Underwear. Here in the United States, we grant separate powers to 3 co-equal branches of government: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Divided, each branch can better support the working of our government as a whole. Why shouldn't this practice carry over to the governing of our own bodies? Rather than allowing your branch and berries to stew in a single stuffy cesspool, well, why not divide so as to diminish your discomfort? Sheath Underwear is here to help you separate your church and your state. Sheaths are the only underwear with the dual pouch system scientifically designed to keep your executive branch separated from your judicial, if you know what I mean. Democratize your drawers. Head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore now and score 20% off right away. It was invented by a U.S. Army veteran while serving a tour in Iraq. The idea for Sheath arose from the discomfort that was experienced in these harsh environments. As a former United States Marine stationed in that part of the world, I get the inspiration. I wear Sheath every single day, and they are the only boxers that can agreeably accommodate my tree trunk thighs and keep my branches of government carefully compartmentalized. And I'm not the only fan out there. Sheath are recommended by multiple doctors and urologists and have over 20,000 5-star reviews. The airflow meshes, they're my favorite personally, but Sheath has tons of excellent styles and designs. And once you pick, Sheath will land them on your doorstep nearly instantly, thanks to blindingly fast shipping and amazing customer service. Also, your purchase doesn't just help you out. Sheath supports multiple charities like Socks for Soldiers and Doctors Without Borders. So you're making the world a better place too. Upgrade your undergarments right now. Score 20% off when you head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore and divide and conquer your discomfort with Sheath Underwear.